Michigan Snow Forecast Gold Standard, November the 12th, 2025, and a good birthday gift from the gold and silver bullion market on our way to becoming an asset millionaire. And as we can see now, the silver price is up an explosive 5% in the futures, 4.75% on the spot price, and is getting near an all-time high. Gold is creeping back near its all-time high, and the silver miners seem to be bottoming out and now on a massive, massive rally going back to pre-highs and even breaking old highs as we have a massive, massive pump in the silver and gold bullion. And the question is, what's going to take place with the Bitcoin price? You can see a lot of movement has taken place in the Bitcoin price, and these are all things that we need to talk about today. As you can see, the Bitcoin price is down 1% now, and earlier today it was up. It actually started the day up. It was up about 2%. And then it's given it all back and it's starting to decline. The altcoins are going to steadily follow that. As you can see, the XLM, the algo, and the XRP are down 2 to 4%. And these are all things we're going to be covering and with the outliner amp pumping to the upside. If we take a look at the Bitcoin price, you can see we did get rejected off that little hook nose uh reversal pattern from the other day, and we were strongly thinking that we're got to come down to the 95,000. But is that a for sure thing? No. And you can see where we came down here, we had a little bit of a rally back, and now we're coming down again, and we're almost down to the major supply zone locally and regionally. And if we come down there, there could be a slight bounce, but I don't believe we're going to hold. And I still believe that our technicals and what we've been looking at the 95,662 and change is actually where we're going, because we've been forecasting and calling for that, because that does bring in questions, and that is the 50-day moving average in the weekly time frame. And then I believe the 79,564.40 could happen in the coming weeks to a month. Does that mean it's going to go straight down there? Absolutely not. Could we trade down there over the course of 4 to 6 weeks? Yup. And that's something that I think you should be paying attention to, because a lot of interesting, uncomfortable conversations and phone calls and emails will be taking, text messages will be taking place from a lot of these quasi Bitcoin treasury companies that they turn their companies into, most notably MicroStrategies, who's at last announcement, his average price was pushing near 76,000, just over 74,500 and change. And that's an area that we're going to watch, as that is the 100-day moving average in the weekly time frame. If you want to get the bullish trend and the party started, you got to hold this and then start that pump, right? And then try to work your way up near the major upper 3.5 year pattern resistance and the all-time high, right? So that's what we're looking at there. The Ethereum's the same thing. You can see it did get rejected, like we were talking about, and that you would have to, excuse me, pay attention for other moving averages on the way up. In the 200-day, it hit it and then it got rejected, and then it tried to get back above it again, then it got rejected, and now we're back below this critical green support and resistance trading box at 34.74. Because if it comes back down through there, your next major move is coming down here to the 3,068, which is the bottom part of this green support and resistance box, and that would be a major area you need to hold. Because if you fail to go through that and you fail to hold that, your next major support is 24.73. Obviously, that doesn't mean it has to go there. These are just the things we're discussing today. And on the bullish scenario, to stop that, you either hold on a retest down here, or you start to get the buyers to come back in where you're at now, and you reestablish yourself on the top side of this green support and resistance box and start to work your way to the upside, right? And that's what we're looking at in Ethereum. And already so far, since the big top that nobody knew at the time but was the top back in August, it is down 30% with rallies back up, obviously big rallies back up, but consistently down over the past 4 months. If we look at the XLM, it's the same thing. You can see we had its big rally off of the 100-day moving average at 25.5 cents in the weekly time frame, bounced beautifully back up to the 50-day moving average in the weekly time frame, could not overcome that, and that's what we were watching, and it got harshly rejected. And we told you if it did, there's going to be some trading, but eventually it would end up back down here at the 25 cents, which is that 100-day moving average. And then that brings in the potential of 21 cents to even deeper, and eventually maybe even coming all the way back down to where these liquidation wicks were, because there's mass liquidity down there that it must. cap. But I am not a financial advisor. I cannot predict the future. I'm just giving you my own personal opinions on the market, and I would never, I repeat, never tell you to buy, sell, or trade anything, right? That's not what we do here. We're becoming asset millionaires together via steady investing in 401ks, cryptocurrencies, gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, real estate, staying and living debt free, paying off a mortgage if you have one, right? And having some cash on the side, earning a minimum of 3 to 5%, right? Minimum every year, 3 to 5%, minimum, and let it compound on itself, right? Various streams of income, because that's a stream of income. If you have $100,000 and you're getting 5%, you're getting 5 grand a year in risk-free income, right? Risk-free, that you can take that money to buy whatever you need or to invest further into the things you already have. And it's sitting there for new investments that come and arise at a moment's notice, or something you've been waiting to invest in. It gives you the capability to do that, and or if you have major home renovations or home repairs, car repairs, medical debt, lose a job, income stream dries up, whatever, you have time because you have some liquidity there, earning an income, and just in case you need it, right? So these are all very valuable things and different sectors of the financial world that you need to be generating you income, whether it be passively, interest, dividends, or appreciation in assets, right? You want them in separate sectors that don't correlate together. So in bad times, not all your stuff goes down because some of your stuff is hedging the bad times and might give you some appreciation, right? But that's just my own thoughts. You can see the XRP is sitting now after being rejected harshly by the moving averages. It's sitting on the 50-day moving average in the lovely weekly time frame. And if we fall, that's right, if we fall below that weekly time frame, we're coming back down to the 100-day moving average in the weekly time frame. And that is at the $1.77 level. And that's an area we've been focusing on and talking about potentially even a $1.28 down there in green, which is the 200-day moving average in the so mentioned weekly time frame. And if you get any value out of this from a source that is voted on the most trusted cryptocurrency site in social media, built by and for the retail trader and investor, for free, no paywalls. If you get any information or education out of this, the best way that people constantly ask me, become members of Jabroni Killers. It's as cheap as $3.99 a month that it starts at, to keep these videos coming for free and expanding the coverage in what we do. Uh, but at the bullish scenario, if you don't want to come down to these deep, dark, depressing levels, you must hold this 50-day moving average and start to build the base and start to work your way back up to that critical overhead resistance at $2.55, right? And it got rejected again by that. That's the area that you need to come in. Or this overall bearish patterns continuing, and you could have some very dark, deep, depressed lows in about 6 months at the end if this is a bear market that we're in and that started back in the summertime and we just don't know it yet. That would be very interesting to see some of these levels come back into play. The old blue support and resistance box. Remember that back in the day, right? So that's what we're looking at here. We're going to go into some news. I still got a few minutes. Actually, let's look at the DGB first. You can see the DGB is threatening, and now it looks like it's going to collapse below the 0.00838. And if it does that, you're going to fall, and you're going to fall fast all the way down, probably to where this pump started at, right? So that's very interesting to see if that actually does happen. But that's going to be over the next several days. Could there be more pumps? Like you come down, then you have a big pump back up? Absolutely. So there's going to be a lot of volatility in the DGB. But I still believe 2026 is the year of DGB and AMP going into 2027. So we're going to see if this is just the initial first signs of daylight in the DGB. The AMP is the same thing. You can see we're trying to show signs of life. We've hit this upper resistance at 0.00313, which was, and the 100-day moving average is right there in the daily, which was our 2 year, almost 2 year pattern support that we broke. We're trying to fire back into that. And if we do fire back into that, we'll pump back up to the 0.00484 very very quickly, right? But I still believe next year there's a lot of upside potential. I believe there's 5 to 10x return potential in AMP and DGB, but does that mean I'm right? Nope. I could be completely wrong, and we're all holding bags of nonsense, right? And but that's what we're trying to avoid, and that's why I don't have a high net worth of my portfolio and my net worth in crypto. It's just my own personal opinion. U.S. Justice Department seized 127,000 Bitcoin worth 13 billion linked to a 2020 hack of Lubian mining pool amid accusations of state-backed cyber operations. Very, very interesting. A wild goose, Peter Schiff knocks Kathy Wood's $1.2 million Bitcoin price projection. Nobody cares about any of that. It's just a bunch of people talking. One lady trying to pump her fund up, the other guy trying to say she's crazy. We're China and US government fighting over Bitcoin. Here's what you need to know. That seems interesting. A new technical report from China National Computer Virus Emergency Response Center has revealed shocking details about one of the largest Bitcoin hacks in history, which points to a hidden power struggle between China and the United States over 15 billion in Bitcoin. The stolen Bitcoin stayed untouched for 4 years, which blockchain experts say is unusual for typical hackers. Now, both China and the US are pointing fingers, with some analysts suggesting the US government may have secretly seized the coins. China 2020 Bitcoin hack raised questions about US government involvement. Fast growing Bitcoin mining pool launched in 2020, mainly operating in China. In late December 2020, hackers attacked its system and stole over 90% of the Bitcoin, matching almost exactly 127,271 BTC, later claimed by the US Justice Department. Soon after the theft, Sing Jae, chairman of Prince of Group in Cambodia, and his team sent over 1,500 messages on the Bitcoin blockchain embedded in small transactions, begging the hackers to return the funds and offering a ransom. The hackers never responded. The stolen Bitcoin remained in a single wallet from 2020 until mid 2024, as unusual move as most hackers move stolen coins quickly. Blockchain experts say the behavior suggests a carefully planned state level operation. In June 2024, the stolen Bitcoin. Hey, if you need to get in there, oh, absolutely. Use the green one though. Yep. Chinese experts, however, claim these are the same coins stolen from 2020, suggesting the U.S. government may have controlled them years earlier, according to CVERC report. The unusual behavior of the stolen coins remained dormant for 4 years. And obviously, if you're stealing, you're not going to leave the stuff you stole sitting there, right? You're going to get rid of it and move it as quick as possible. Blockchain analysts revealed 25 Bitcoin wallets addressed, mentioned in the U.S. Department of Justice indictment, corresponded to the addresses involved in the 2020 hack, right? So that's very interesting. The US government stealing Bitcoin from China, China not being happy. Lots of new legislation and regulations coming on board. How that'll affect you, how that affects us, we'll get into that in tonight's video and in each and every daily video as these new things and information and laws and regulations become available. Peace and love, the Rock's Eyebrow. Jay.